Hi everybody and welcome along to this Yoga Orkney online session. So it's suitable for all levels, to beginners to people who've been practicing for some time. And really I try to incorporate as many options as I can in classes so that we all feel that we can get something out of it. If you have any concerns, please do ask or ask your healthcare provider, specifically if you're managing a condition that's unique to you. You know best, but please feel free to get in touch. Please make sure that the place that you're exercising in is suitable, that you have had a look for any hazards, you have a nice clean area to work with, and yeah, just work at your own pace, at your own level, and I hope you enjoy. So you're just going to find a comfortable starting position for yourself. Sitting, I'm going to be sitting this morning. You might want to lie on your back in that constructive rest shape, which is knees bent. See how you feel. This is quite a nice one to lie on your side. Giving that one over a couple of weeks. Maybe it's here. Maybe you're quite happy to sit up. And remember, it doesn't have to be cross legs. And I know I look like I'm sitting quite upright in these videos, but I'm leaning against the back of my bed here. So it's helping to give me some of the support that I need. And then you're just going to have a little kind of roll through the head, neck and shoulders. Lift and lower a few times. You might want to press your arms forward. And you might want to pull your arms back and just lift the chest. Maybe a little twist side to side. See how your body feels this morning. Where are the areas that are stiff or tight? And then you might just want to let your hands relax onto your knees or onto your belly. And whether you're seated or whether you're lying, it's going to change what feels most comfortable for you. And then you're just going to use your imagination and grow the spine out of the hips. And then just borrowed from my very first years of doing yoga. Imagine that your spine is the stem of a flower. And that your face is the bloom. And just allowing your shoulders to relax. Just having a play around with the sensations in the body of the muscles, maybe releasing a little. How does your breath feel? We don't have to focus too heavily on the breath. If you find it comforting, that's great. It is hay fever season though, so if it's uncomfortable, then you have that sense of yourself here resting on whatever surface it is. Just maybe some sounds from around your room. I have the window open so I can hear the trees rustling in the wind. So just tune into the environment that's around you. Move your body if that's what feels good as well. Don't have to stay totally still. Maybe have a little think about what you might need in terms of your attitude. I think that's what people mean when they say energetically. What kind of mindset would set you up for the rest of your week? If that's too far ahead to think, maybe just the rest of the day or the morning. Do you need to slow down a little? Do you need to speed up a little? kind of mindset would be helpful. Sometimes it can be challenging to lay your finger on what that might be. If that's the case for you, just let it go, that's fine. And then just check in with the body. Is it any more relaxed or any less relaxed than when you first started? Can we just bring about a sensation of not feeling that anything's too urgent this morning? Just for this next hour or so, can we just allow the muscles to relax a little? Can we allow ourselves to relax a little? And the connection between your brain and your body is a two-way conversation. Just being aware of those focus points you set for yourself, your anchors, your breath, your body, the feeling of yourself here resting, or the sounds, or anything else. And then often as we allow the body to relax, it can sometimes send the signal to the brain that it's totally fine to relax, to release. And it's sometimes in these little moments, the half an hour and the hour that you set for yourself, it gives you that brain space to be able to organise other things. Just releasing that sense of pressure that you put on yourself. And then just becoming aware of the room that you're in again. Sounds, breath, sense of touch as you rest on the floor or against the chair or wherever it is you're resting. You might just want to wiggle your arms and legs. And if you're lying, just stay lying. If you're sitting, you're going to bring yourself to lying on your back. So I just quite like something soft under the head. I have a pillow there, pillow off the bed or the cushion, or a cushion off the couch works, or a rolled up blanket. And you're just going to lie into that constructive rest position. And you're going to want a little space. I say this because I never leave myself enough space for your knees to kind of roll from side to side. We're just going to stay in constructive rest here with your feet bent, your knees bent with your feet on the floor. And then just be aware that you don't have to pull the knees all the way in. You can walk the feet kind of in and out. I also like to just kind of roll the hips from side to side. And you might have just spotted that as well. Lifting the shoulders up so that I can feel the flat of the upper back on the floor. And then I just release them down. Otherwise I have this just uncomfortable sensation in the upper back. So make sure that you feel reasonably comfortable here. Now if you feel that your back is arching up off the floor, walk your feet just a tiny, not even an inch maybe further away. And see how that feels. Now you might want the hands on the body or on the floor or one of each. And again, you can just play around with the arm position. Maybe down by your sides, maybe out to the sides or over the head. Palms up or palms down. Try both. See how it feels. Good. That's a little extra bonus if you were already in constructive rest before. Now you're just going to take your left palm and turn it up to the ceiling, and your right palm faces down, and just really slowly, so just be aware, I know some of you have stiffness in the neck or the shoulder, so you're just going to turn your head to look towards the left hand, and it can be just like a tiny tick. You don't have to move your head and stretch it as far as it goes, just a little turn of the head so you start to feel a little something in the arms. And if you're feeling it straight down into the fingertips, turn the head back a little bit more. And then the head looks up towards the ceiling. Just take care. I know that sounds really silly, but sometimes that makes me feel like car sick or seasick, just turning the head. So shut your eyes if it feels uncomfortable. You're going to switch which hand is facing up and which hand is facing down. So the left palm turns down and the right palm turns up. And then you just slowly turn your head to look at that upturned palm. Now you can move the arms down or up. That has quite a significant impact for me. See how you feel? I have done some shoulder stuff this weekend, mainly in the garden. So the front of the body feels quite tight, but it might be different for you. Maybe it's the back of your body, or maybe you feel the middle of your body. One more time, just switching which palm is up, which palm is down. Turning the head, and at this point you might want to decide that your head just wants to look straight up. That's totally fine. So we're just using the arm positioning and a really slight movement of the head here to draw stretch. Quite a significant stretch to the upper body, so kind of from the ribs upwards and all the way round is affected by this. Head turns, palms twist, left one down, right one up. And maybe you're turning your head to look towards the right arm. And it's quite nice while you're lying down because it's quite hard to turn your neck too far within what's considered average range of motion. Good, and then head turns up. Just bring your arms up, give them a little shake out. You can bring them up and down a few times, or just whatever you need to do to ease them. I don't know, I felt like I needed to do a little chest press for some reason. And then you're going to take this left leg, lift the toes here, push the toes down and lift the heel. Sorry if you're feeling your calves, lift the toes. You can just stick with a toe lift, you don't have to lift the heel. And then just a couple more times, just switching, waking up the lower legs, but also this wakes up your abdominal muscles, the lower layers of the abs. And you might just want to encourage that by giving them a little squeeze down, not too much. You might not want to do that, it's up to you. And then you're going to keep the toes lifted, and you're going to lift that left knee into the chest and send the left foot up to the ceiling. How do the back of the legs feel? How's the back of the knees? And you might want to hold on to the back of the leg. And then you're going to point those left toes, let go of the leg, lower the leg down, heel away, and then slide that same leg into the chest, up towards the ceiling. Now you might want to go no hands, you might just want to add that little extra pull at the top here, point the toes, and down. So that's really similar. Remember, you can do this with a bent knee. I'll show you this next round. Push and in. It's similar movement for the leg as when you were just lifting the heel and the toes there. So if you want to do this with a bent leg, point the toes. You just bend the knee, toes tap down, switch it out for a heel, and then pull back in and stretch. And they don't have to be all the way straightened at the end here, just whatever feels right. If the leg is like shaking like this, less, bend the knee or move the knee away, pointing the toe every time you drop the leg down. Nice kind of heavy sensation in the right side, dragging that leg in, and then lift. 2 more times, ish. Depends how quick or how slow. Good, in, and lift. 1 more time. And when you're ready, you're just going to bring that left leg into a figure of 4 stretch. So you're going to bend that left leg across the right thigh or shin, or you just drop the leg out to the side. It's up to you. See how you feel. Now here's where you have some choices. Maybe you would like to, you always have choices. You have more choices. Little shake from side to side. You might want to lift that right leg up. A little bit of a stronger stretch. And down. See how you feel. Just lift and lower. And down. Or side to side. Or you hold on here. Up to you. Maybe a mixture. I like to just stretch out my toes or push through my heels when I lift up off the floor. But you might find the opposite, that pointing the toes feels better for you. It just really depends on the makeup of what's going on in your hips and legs. And then again, foot down. So you're going to allow the knees to just kind of drape over to the left hand side. Now if I'm totally honest here, where I start to feel the tension is about here. So I can use my flexibility to just drop everything down to the floor. My back doesn't like that. So what I'm going to do is take a prop of some type. So I have my bolster here. You might have cushions. You might just want to allow the thigh to relax onto the bolster. Now if you have pillows, folding them over here and putting them really high up towards the hip. So rather than think about the knee resting on the prop, higher up can work as well. That feels quite good. And you might want to take the arms out to the side. Remember, this back arm can reach over at this kind of opposite diagonal from the legs. How are the knees? You can always just keep the knees kind of tucked together and rolled over. How does it feel? And then you're just going to roll onto your back again. Feet come down onto the floor. I'm just going to move the prop over to the other side. That's where I will need it the next time round. And you're going to work the right leg. So I just might turn around so that you can see the leg that's working closest to the camera. But you guys can just move straight onto the other leg. I need to remember that I've moved my head when we come to the next part. So this time, feet on the floor. Just allow yourself to comfortably come into that constructive rest position. And the more you practice this, the more the body just kind of gets the idea that this is the cue for it to kind of release and relax a little bit. Unless it just feels not for you, you can always sit up. Everybody's different. And then you're going to pick up that opposite leg. So for me, that's the right leg this time. Heel lifts, and you're going to lift that right leg up towards the ceiling, or it's the opposite leg from what you just worked. Now you can hold on to the back of the thigh. You can try it, even if you just gently place your fingertips onto the leg. I don't know if that works for you guys, but something just happens that things start to relax, or something else takes over from the muscles working. Not even pulling, just like this little tap here. And then you're going to put the leg back on the floor, lift the toes so you feel into the muscles in the front of the shin bone, which means the muscles in the back of the leg, the deep calf muscles are stretching here, and then you're going to lift the heel. And then again toes. And you'll know if you've moved your foot like a little bit too far away from your body, then the heel just refuses to lift. So you can play around with the distance, lifting the toes. Good, lifting the heel. Toes. Heel. Toes. And I'm just going to bend that leg in and reach it up towards the ceiling again. How stiff do the back of the legs feel? And then you're going to point the toe to the ceiling and drop the leg down. Remember, it's totally fine to have a bent knee. Heel pushes away, in, up, and again, you don't want to feel it all here. That's where I tend to feel this here. There's like a tiny little muscle that's maybe the size of a finger that wraps across the back of the knee, and it can cause kind of significant pain on the outer edge or the inner edge of the knee. Sometimes it can be other muscles as well. So you don't want to just like overcook that, straightening out that leg. Pointing the toe and lowering. Maybe you've carried on, that's fine. Heel away and in. And then just lifting, point, down, heel, in, point, down, heel, pull the knee in. That's an abdominal exercise, by the way, so if you find it hard and you think, why do I find it hard? Point down, heel, and then drawing in. And that shows you kind of what muscles work when you are walking. It's a really complex movement pattern, walking in on two legs, walking on two legs. Point, down, heel, and in. Well done. And you might just want to reach that leg up and cross it over the opposite thigh for that figure of four stretch. See how you feel? You might just have the foot on the floor turned out. You might prefer the knee turned in, so that's always an option. If your body hates the turn out, like this, if there's loads of clicking and popping, pretty much every time I do it on this side, I would have to just move it to like there. So just be really honest about what it is that your body feels or what it needs. Remember, you can always do these twisting movements at the ankles as well. You don't have to be totally still. So you might go side to side, or you might lift straight up. You might want to hold it here, that's fine. See how you feel. Just a few times, maybe swishing side to side or lifting up and down. You can lift the head and lower it if you're holding on. You might want to try whether it's toes or the heels that come down, or the pointed feet. You get the idea. There's loads of different variations. Even just moving the feet can change the way that feels. And then you're just going to allow those knees to drop down to the right hand side. So you're following the leg that's crossed over on top. And remember, if you had the knees turned in, then maybe the knees together here rather than the legs crossed over might be a nice option. Or crossing the legs kind of in that more traditional way, rather than foot over the thigh, you might just have thigh over the thigh. See how that feels. And that will cause the right hip to rotate inwards rather than outwards. And then you have options with your arms. See how it feels. And you're just going to roll onto your back again, uncross the feet. And you're just going to lift this right leg up, and you're going to climb your arms up. Head and shoulders might come up off the floor. And if you always feel that this neck is not quite happy with what's going on, take a hand onto the back of the head and let your head just fully relax into the hand. This takes all the tension out of the back of the neck right away. And then foot comes down, head comes down, lift up the opposite leg and climb up. Maybe here, maybe hand on the back of the head. It's a little bit more active work. But remember, this is stretching everything from the back of that heel to the back of the head. So that's, you can feel the head there. One more time each side. lifting. Maybe here, hand on the back of the head. So also, that back line stretches onto the forehead. So if you are holding onto the back of the head, when you relax, can you feel the muscles in the forehead relaxing as well? Seems like a really unlikely connection that your feet would connect to your forehead via the back line of the body. Coming down and lift up. Good, and then down. And then any way you can, up to sitting. So I'm just going to roll through my side. You can roll straight up to sitting, that's fine. And you want to be comfortable here for a little minute. So, I'm going to try one. You guys may have longer arms than me. So in a moment, what you're going to do is you're going to take a hand and sit on it. So the palm of the hand is facing down, and it makes sense when we do the exercise at the same time. Just asking you to sit on your hand is a little bit strange, but you'll feel it in a moment. If you find that I'm only laughing because it's true for me, if your arm's not really long enough, like it's not really like that comfortable to sit on your hand because, I don't know, things are just not lining up in the right length, hand out to the side, and you might want to have, like, if you're lucky and you have a prop, then you can. If you're sitting near a wall or your bed or a chair, then the same thing will work. If you can, the hand just slides underneath the butt with the palm facing downwards. So just from this sitting position, now it doesn't have to be cross legs. Don't know, my legs just do this from years of yoga conditioning, cross legs. But you can sit in any way that feels comfortable for you. And then hands just relax onto the knees. It just gives them a job to do so that they're not just like floating around and your shoulders are not quite sure what to do. And then just going to slowly turn the head down, but you're just going to gently reach up through the crown of the head. So you kind of get this like sense of a stretch down the head, the neck, the shoulders. Just be really careful. Like, well, you don't have to be too careful, but just be mindful of how the neck feels. If you know that your neck doesn't quite like being stretched, then that's totally fine. You can just kind of drop a shoulder. So it's just this gentle kind of loop down. Maybe if I turn sideways, like you're not hollow arching all the way here, just reach, tiny little press in, and you might not feel anything at all, but it's still stretching whether you feel it or not. So there's a few different stretch receptors in the body, and genes and other things kind of dictate how able you are to kind of sense that feeling of stretch. And stretching is always seen as a positive. You never really hear much about, you know, like, is it bad to stretch too much? But just like anything else, you know, there can be too much flexibility in a joint. So see how it feels. And then you're just going to like lift the chin, but it's not like this all the way up to the ceiling. You can't breathe. Just imagine, you know, that you can actually just take your fingertip underneath the chin until you start to feel this kind of stretch or a similar stretch. But don't worry if you don't feel it. You can try dropping the shoulders away if they'll move. There can be variances in the collarbones from side to side as well, which is maybe why you feel something different on the right or the left side of the body. So we'll just switch gently, chin back down, little lift through the crown of the head. And then nothing too active, but you might just feel that the waist joins in to kind of lengthen that spine. And then gently chin up. And then just release for a little moment. So you're going to take that right hand and sit on the hand. So remember the palm of the hand is down. I'll try it. Seems to want to sit under there. If you can't reach, remember, if you have something like a bolster or cushions, then the palm just presses kind of down towards the cushion. If not, you can just float it in mid-air, that's fine. And you're just going to turn the head to look to the left. So think about that chin. How does it feel? If you're feeling anything untoward in either side of the neck, shoulders, or in the hands and fingers as well, back off a little bit. So you're just going to turn the head back to the middle, and then the chin kind of looks up. So I think about the jawline, so the jaw on the left hand side, and then you're just going to let this left shoulder drop away. One of my favourite stretches of all time. If you need to move that right hand, move it. And then one more time, just turning the head. So you're not kind of scooping up, just straight on the same kind of horizontal line. You're just turning that head to the left. And this is stretching the neck. Also this connection here where the head joins onto the back of the head. Everything around the shoulders, chest, upper back. And then one more time, turning the head to the right, chin, looking up, and maybe dropping that left shoulder down. And then looking forward, take that right arm, slide it out from underneath the body, hug it onto the left shoulder, and just try pressing with the left arm on the back of the arm here. And then you can move the head and neck again. Does it change the stretch? So this is maybe under the right shoulder. Good, and then your left arm comes down and your right arm reaches over. You're just going to pull it back and over a few times. And you don't have to be kind of staying across in this like flat, like straight, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You don't have to bend over at 90 degrees. Basically you can twist the chest and kind of change the stretch for yourself. And you always want to leave a little room at the end of your stretch. So you don't want to go to the maximum point, just leave a little bit of space. That one always gets me right at the base of the ribs on the back of the body. But you could feel chest, shoulders, biceps maybe. Depends. That's definitely the tight area for me, is that area between the ribs and the hips. Good. And then release and you'll do the other side. That feels really tired on that shoulder. So you're going to take the left hand and sit on it. This is the short side. That is just horrifically bad for me. So it's palm down. It's just a way to create a little bit of tension. Or you have it here on the bolster. See how it feels. So you're just going to turn the head to the right hand side. And this, like, I have almost, like, I could probably look to the back wall on this side, whereas the other side it was just much more normal range of motion. This is too much. So just be aware if you're kind of cranking all the way around, you can see quite far behind you. A little bit less, maybe just over the tip of the shoulder. And then you turn to look to the left. This jawline on the right hand side looks up. And then that might be enough. You might just want to relax that right shoulder down. And then over again to the right hand side, just turning the neck. And this can feel really good if there's loads of neck tension in the shoulders. Turning and then lifting here, maybe dropping down, see how it feels. But again, you're not just like craning the head back. Well done. And release. And then you can release that left arm. Have a little lean over to the right hand side. And then pull back. Lean over. Pulling back. So I'm just gently turning the palm as well, so it's facing you guys and then it's facing the floor here. But for some of you that might be different. Maybe it faces in and up. Just like when you're lying on the floor. Feels really different whether the palms are up or down. And again, just leaving yourself some room to move. Even right here at the end of the stretch. Good. Reaching over. Over. one more time. And then release those arms. Well done. You're going to come onto your hands and knees, and we're going to take downward dog. Remember, you don't have to take downward dog. You can do cat cow, this one here, or child's pose. We're going to come to child's pose with a bolster in a moment, or your cushions in a moment anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, I'm just making sure that I did the right thing in the right order that I wrote earlier on. So we're going to start anyway with cat cow, or if you're in downward dog and you're happy, stay there, that's fine. We're coming up there in a minute anyway. Arching the back in the two opposite directions, up, down, and then tucking the toes, pushing the hips back, pressing yourself up. Sometimes a bit of a surprise when you've done all stretchy stuff. And you might just want to take that little nudge from side to side. See how your shoulders feel in downward dog after that sequence for the upper bodies in that seated position. So I'm not sure, mine feel a lot more stable than they normally do. What we want to try and avoid in that downward dog, see, is pushing all the way back and then sinking into the shoulders there. And really that is just a recipe for disaster for the rotator cuff. And then as well with downward facing dog, so sorry to anybody that has the lines on your mat that shows you where you're going to go. What I always say is, my mum is 5'1", my husband is 6'6", so which person did they draw the lines for on the mat? Depending on whether your hands are close or far from your feet, you can use that as options as to how that feels for the back of the legs, for the chest and the shoulders. Not everybody's back will come out of this. This isn't normal, by the way, for the back to arch like this in a forward fold. So not everybody's back will straighten out, because it's probably not supposed to do that in this position. You can use your knees bending. So you have an important decision to make, to plank or not to plank. You can come straight down onto your hands and knees for a cat cow. If it feels okay, plank. And neither is better or worse than the other, they are just options available to you. And then your knees come down, and then you're going to grab, if you have bolster or a couple of cushions. If you're using, these are not cushions, I don't know why I keep calling them cushions, easier to say than pillow obviously. So if you have the pillows or your cushions, squishing them this way, like just gathering them in and squishing them this way, and then you just kind of pull them back towards the body, and it makes a really similar shape to a bolster. And just to show you here as well, I'm on a big cushion and my feet are kind of dangling off the edge. So if you find it's the tops of the feet that don't like child's pose, a rolled up blanket just underneath the front of the ankle joint can work quite nicely as well. So you're just going to take a child's pose. How does that feel after the downward dog? Good or bad? You want to come back up to downward dog, then you can. And then you can try the head facing either way. And after some of that work that we did on the neck and upper body, I don't feel as significant in the difference. Normally I can only face one direction. Maybe there's no change for you, that's reasonable as well. And then you're just going to come out of that posture, pushing the floor away, just checking our time there. We're going to come into cobra now, so we're going to lie on the front of the body. You might want your prop, your bolster there. Look for options. So we're going to lie on the front of the body. You don't necessarily need any props, that's fine. You may want the bolster underneath the armpits. See how that feels. If that's a no, sometimes just like, this is, I think I did this last week. the forehead just catching on the prop or the arms catching on the prop here. That can be quite nice. If that's still too much of a back bend, underneath the hips, then you're basically taking the bend from the lower back and spreading it out a little bit further up. Another nice option as well is for the prop to be on the legs. That's a much steeper stretch for me. So just choose, or just take it out. Sometimes the prop just annoys you. Get rid of it. You feel this kind of loyalty to use it because it's hanging around, but you don't have to. And sometimes lying on the front of the body doesn't feel good. I don't know, if you're breathing hot air, like down, that really bothers me. I don't know why, but I don't like it. So, or the feeling of not being able to take a deep breath because of basically the diaphragm and the ribs at the front. So feel absolutely free to come into a cat-cow. Or if you want to take a back bend facing upwards, because we're going to be here for a little moment more, you can always take like a fish pose, hands behind the head or something else behind the head. So it's still a back bend, but the ribs are free to move, so it just feels a little bit less constricted sometimes. And this is like a really old-fashioned, but they still do it now, physio exercise to do deep breathing on the front of the body, because it's hard, it's harder for the muscles to move. And then just checking in with those anchors for yourself, the sounds from around your room, the sensation of your body resting. Remember that you want a little space, you want a little room to move. You don't want to be right at the end of the posture. That is not the edge. The edge is right at the beginning when you start to feel a little something happening. Your breath maybe. And if you don't feel a significant sensation in your lower back, great, that's absolutely fine. And if you do, move, choose another option. Good. I can all see you chilling out there, that's awesome. Facing the camera. And then see how you feel. So if you are lying on your back, turn onto a side and do this next exercise on your side. If you're quite happy lying on the front of the body, bend the right knee and release it down. So if you're lying on your left side, you're going to be bending your right knee, and if you're lying on your right side, you're going to be bending the left knee, the one that's on top basically. So you're just going to kick it in. And this is the opposite of that exercise we did of like kicking the legs while we were lying on our back. So heel this time into the butt, point the toe at the bottom just so you have room to move. And if you're lying on your side, I'm just going to face away from you. You just keep the same leg. Did I say right leg? Right leg. If I said left leg, I mean right leg, left leg. So if you're lying on your side, it's just going to kind of look like this. And what we're doing is stretching the thigh and working the hamstring at the same time. And also, to a lesser extent, but some, the glutes here. And it could also be a bit of a stretch for the hip flexors. Can we feel the back of that leg yet? Yeah. Now if you're feeling the back of the knee, let go somewhere. If you're holding on around the pelvis, all the muscles are holding in, just let go. Or lower, don't kick the heel as high, can be another option. And you're just going to bring the toes onto the floor of that right leg and kick the heel away. The one leg you've been working. I've just confused myself, but that's not hard. Now if you're on your side, switch onto your other side. So you're going to work the other leg. If you're happy so where you are, left leg, up and down. And don't think about the heel yet, just kick it up and down. And then heel in, toes, heel in, toes. And the same thing if you're lying on your side. It's just the same, you just kick and reach, kick and reach. And then we're just using the repetitions here to make the muscle feel a little bit tired, or a lot bit tired, depending. And then when you've done the last one, you can tuck the toes over and just kick the heel away. And then you have choice, child's pose, or you push yourself back up into that downward dog for another go. Child's pose, or you could come back into cobra, that's fine. And see how it feels now after you've worked the legs rather than the upper body. And again, just bending the knee nice and easy side to side, pushing a little into right hand, left hand. And then this time you're just going to slide one knee forward and then the other, and you're kneeling for a little moment. Now if this doesn't feel good, hero pose of Asana, we're asking a lot of the foot here. You know, it's a straight line for the ankle. You're also asking quite a lot for the knee here as well. So feel free to sit with your legs out in front of you instead. We're going to come there into a moment anyway. But see how it feels. And we're going to take a little twist in this hero pose. If your calves are talking to you now, feet out in front, you do not have to sit your butt on the floor. We used to do this one where we like turned the legs out and the butt had to sit down in between the feet. I mean, if you can easily sit like that and it doesn't hurt you, then that's fine, but really not a great position for the knees to be in. Don't struggle through it though. Sit with your feet out in front. We're just going to twist the upper body, so it's totally up to you. You might sit on a bolster, that would release any tension in the legs. Twist round to the right hand side. If you do want to sit onto your bolster, you just kind of sit. And again, you're not hauling yourself round with your arms. And from that little head and neck exercise earlier on, do you want to turn the head? Which way? Which way feels good for you? Other direction. This is where you think, well, see how the effect is really cumulative in terms of time. Like you start off in a position it feels pretty comfortable. Do you want to move the head or not? It's up to you. And then release. That's another one of those postures. If you have long arms, the twists can usually feel quite good. Release the legs. You don't have to listen to this, so I'll give them a little shake. I remember I was in a class and we were doing the yoga pose where you cross over and you twist. And my knee basically just comes to my elbow. And the teacher was just said, all you have to do is get your knee a little bit closer to your armpit. And I thought, well, yes, but how does that actually happen? But it's never going to happen because my arms are just not the right size. But the twisting ones, if you've got like a really long arms and a short body, they'll feel great. So we're going to take a forward fold. You can sit up on your props. So I'll just demo them for you. You're just going to take a forward fold. You can sit up here. So if you are the person who, when you come to do a forward fold, is like this. That's not bad, by the way, it's just shape. Then your hips really are the opposite tilt from what would make it easier for you to find forward fold easy. So if I tilt my hips back and lean, all I'm doing there is using the flexibility from the legs to come forward. So sitting up on a bolster, probably going to be a good option if you're this person. Oh, my feet are really far away. Now, if you're this person who starts off already halfway into a forward fold, then you're going to want the bolster potentially underneath the knees here. And I know that is less, but it's also much less for the point where the hamstring joins on to the hip. So the muscles in the back of the leg join onto the hip, and over time, if we do this forward fold here, oh, I hardly do it anymore, you're just pulling on those points. That's going to pull onto the bone. So what feels best for you? Bolster under the knees and a little lean forwards. Or it can be just your cushions, pillows, or you can sit up. So probably those teachers who have this one will tell you to sit up on a block, because it alters where it puts your hips into neutral basically. You still probably want to bend your knees a little bit. And you really just don't want to be feeling any strong sensations in the toes, back of the knees, the hips. Another option is to turn the knees outwards, more like butterfly pose, and lean forward a little from there. That can make it worse in your hips, so you just have to adjust. It can be quite nice to catch the head in the hands as well. Or if you're not feeling the seated forward fold, up in Asana here. It's actually quite similar to this one that we did at the very beginning with the legs lifted out. So that's lots of options for you to choose from. And a lot of the postures in yoga put quite a lot of stress on the spine and the hips. And basically in India, when they developed the postures, or the asanas as they're called, the prevalence of hypermobility in India is much, much greater than in the UK or the US or any other more Western regions. So the poses have been designed for these hypermobile bodies. And also no women practice yoga back then. There was the odd one or two. So you can tell that I've definitely read those books. So basically the postures were designed for like a different, it just genetically much higher prevalence of hypermobile joints. And then just releasing from that stretch. And you're going to lie onto your back. Take your time. It can be a big ask after a forward fold. I'm just going to put a cushion back under the head here. And just bend the knees, stretch out the right leg, and it might feel a little bit strange in the back, so you might want to put like a cushion under the back, or just don't bend the straightened out leg, just don't straighten out the leg as much. Maybe a little wiggle side to side. And that can feel quite nice if you've got tight hip flexors. And then you're just going to switch sides. And again, it doesn't have to be straightened all the way out. Just give it a little rock, the foot a little rock from side to side. And there's like a tiny connection on the back of the heel where the tendon connects down onto the heel. So that can be quite nice, or if it's not nice, bend the knee a little bit more so you're not resting on that area. How does it feel for your knees? How does it feel on the hips? Foot comes in. And you might just let the knees fall over to the left hand side. And again, you might want something to prop underneath the thighs. So we've not crossed the knees over this time. I think we're going to take one more stretch, we've got time. You might want to take the prop in between the thighs. Back arm, so we've draped the knees over to the left. The right arm can reach out, palm up or down, you choose. Head can look to the knees or away. So all variations on that same theme. And then we're going to do the other side. So just swish the knees over to the right. So again, you might want the prop underneath that right leg, or you might want it between the thighs. And I try and make the prop kind of match the same line as the shin. That's what feels comfy for me, but it might be different for you. And then when you're ready, you're just going to come back to that constructive rest position. Now it can be quite nice to have a prop underneath the knees like this, or you might just want to walk the feet in. Also, what's good, one of my friends, she's been doing the pregnancy yoga classes, and she said she just refused to get up when I was like after relaxation. So the one that I give for them is the bolster behind, and then you're like kind of propped up here. You can have an extra something under the head. This is really comfortable. It gives you this like stretch over the chest. If you have your wall space, you might want to have legs up the wall. This is going into the final relaxation, by the way. Or here, this can be quite nice if you just catch the back of the legs on a chair. You just might want to make it simple and lie straight out on your back, which is probably one of my least comfortable positions, which is great for sleeping. Good, so you just want to make yourself comfortable. Do you want to put your socks on, jumper on? And then right at the beginning of the session, we had a little think about what qualities might help us with the rest of the day or with the rest of the week. And maybe something came to you during the session if it wasn't already there at the beginning. Maybe it didn't. You can just let it go and focus on the here and now. So we're thinking about sounds. That sense of yourself resting. All those actual points of contact that you make with the floor, or the props, or your chair, or the wall. Maybe your breath, if that's comfortable for you. Sometimes it's whatever you're looking at. Often you don't get to choose, so just go with what feels natural. Sense of touch, sound, breath. Eyes, whatever it is you're looking at. And just be aware of those anchor points. And anytime you realise that the mind has drifted far from those, bring it back. And we use patience. Don't be frustrated if the mind wanders off. It's absolutely inevitable. That's your task for this section. Bring your focus back to the here and now, which is the sounds, touch, breath, maybe the eyes, whatever you're looking at. Just allow the muscles and the forehead to relax. See how far down the body that sense of relaxation reaches. Maybe it's jaw, maybe it's shoulders. And when it runs out, just bring your attention back to the forehead. And allow those muscles to relax. Face, neck, shoulders, chest, abdominals. Still being aware of those sounds, your body resting, your breath, maybe the eyes, whatever you're looking at. Can we allow that feeling of relaxation from the muscles reach down into the lower legs and the feet? And with the body relaxed or more relaxed, is it easier to tap into that sense of calm? Your body holds a memory of what that feels like. Does it release a knot in the chest, or the belly, or the back, or the shoulders? Sometimes we hold the tension in the head. Let it go. Still listening, being aware of our body, how it's resting here. Maybe your breath, maybe the eyes, whatever you're looking at. Just allowing that feeling of relaxation in the muscles to drip down from the forehead. Just releasing shoulders, spine, one vertebrae at a time. Hips, legs, all the way into the lower legs and the feet. And what was that quality that you wanted to take with you for the rest of the day or for the rest of your week? Do we need to relax, calm down? Do we need to reconsider our attitude towards some tasks that we need to do? Do we just need to go to bed on time? It doesn't matter if it comes to you now or not. Breath, sound, sense of touch, your body resting, maybe the eyes. What is it that you actually need today for the rest of the week? Just every now and then, just bringing your attention back to those anchor points for you. Breath, sound, touch. Maybe what you're looking at. That might just be the back of the eyes. Just reminding yourself every now and then what it is that you feel that you might need for the rest of your day, for the rest of the week. Bring yourself back into the room, focusing on those sounds, the sense of yourself resting, maybe your breath. If you're happy to use your breath, then breathe a little bit deeper. Whatever you're looking at, maybe the eyes are open, maybe they're closed. And just gently you're going to start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe a little nudge of the head side to side, optional. Little circle of the wrist, remember everything's optional. Ankles, doesn't mean it's easy, but it's always optional. And you might just want to start to take a roll from side to side. Maybe that's just the feet. Maybe you want to walk the feet in a little closer to you. Maybe you want to hug the knees in, maybe you don't. See how you feel? Just taking that little roll from side to side. If it feels okay for your hips, you just might want to stick with wrists and ankles or fingers and toes, that's fine. And then when you feel ready, make your way back up to sitting if you're not already. You might roll straight up, you might roll for your side. Grand, and we'll just finish off in that seated position with a big breath all together. So your arms might want to reach up, you might want to take a look up, and your hands can come to your own heart or to the floor. And namaste. Thank you all so much for coming along this morning.